Hello, everybody. My name is Tanya Hand, and welcome to Let's Chat. Today, I have my guest, who is an entrepreneur, who is a Renaissance man. He's a chef, he's a cook, he's a model, and he's here to give us a little bit of background about who he is and how he got started with all of the wonderful things that he's doing. So I welcome today Mr. Author Andre Ruff. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome. Thank you for having me here on your show. I appreciate being here, and for you to be recognizing me for my literature and my book is a very unique thing. Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you. And we're sitting out today on this wonderful, glorious day. I mean, it's a beautiful day. It's the middle of October, and it's like 70 degrees. So we couldn't have had better, perfect weather, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful out here. Thank you for having me. The sun is out. Hey, what more can we ask for? In the fall, too, it's pretty sometimes it's pretty cold. But, yeah, we got a good day.
Yes. So the first thing that we want to talk about is that, he's an author. So he wrote his first book, The Nightclub Lover. And so we're going to get to hear a little bit about that. And then we're going to actually hear about him being a chef, because he's a chef. He cooks. You like to cook.
Yeah, seafood is my specialty, but I get down and burn some steak if you want me to.
Okay. And he also is a runway model. So he definitely takes over the runway whenever he gets an opportunity to do that. All right. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, though, is the book. Give us a little bit of background about what your story is about, and The Nightclub Lover. Give us a little history of that.
Well, actually, it's a fiction book, and I was always thought that I was, can be creative. I felt like, my inner strength, my inner energy, felt like I was somebody, and I knew I had to try to, get to that point to what I feel inside me. So I had to bring it out, and actually, I thought about acting and other things, but what I had time for, because I had to work, was to write a book. So then I wrote the book, The Nightclub Lover, and I really love it that, the way it's going now, and actually it's brought out the potential in me to, rise to who I am really deep inside, and it actually, brought out a lot of my positive energy.
Sounds like it's been quite a journey for you. Yeah, in terms of where you started, based on where you basically have ended up in terms of getting this book published, right?
Yes. Actually, the book is self-published. I took the initiative to do everything by myself because I didn't want anyone to actually grab the rights that I, have for myself, and before I'm ready to, soar it out there to other people who wants to, make money, make a profit off of it. So my thing was to enjoy what I have first before someone else makes a profit off of it.
Sounds like you wanted to keep all the money. Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
I certainly did.
There's nothing wrong with that, maybe because this is the finished product, and so, you made it work for you, and that's an awesome thing. So now, in terms of the storyline, in regards to the book, like, what is it that you want to give them a little bit of a background, maybe a little history on what the storyline about the book is actually about?
Well, it's actually like it's actually about
It's fictional, though. That's number one. We'll say it's fictional.
But it does have a real story based on to what can I serve to the public for them to read, and what can they get out of my book. It's a man that's, striving for better, and I took him from the beginning, from where he was at his worst. And he, through the book and through the story, you can see his journey and see how he overcome a lot of his tribes and tribulations.
Sounds like humble beginnings.
Yes, exactly. It has a little story. It's a little, it's about lust, deceit, and greed, action, and romance. So we have it all in there. For if a young kid want to read it, he can read it and know that some things that he do won't pay, and some things that he should do, things are granted to you for being on a positive path, and changing your life around. And that's something that's hard for a lot of people to understand, whether they can change their life around or not, because of their situations they may be into today.
Okay, I like that because we're talking about basically there's the humble beginnings in regards to what you're talking about for your book and the development of how to basically overcome it and how to get out of that. Is there some similarities from your book in terms of it being with your real life?
Yeah, it's some the groundwork of it, from good to bad, from bad to good, put it like that, is pretty much the memento of the book, and how you just keep going through crisis until you get to where you want to really be at, and striving every day for success.
To do better, to
Yeah,
do
to
better
do
too.
better. Yeah, it actually shows like he went from a bad path to a good path, and the stretch that he took made him an amazing person.
And do you feel similar to the character that's in the book?
Yeah, I feel quite similar to the person that's in the book. It's not whether I went from rags to riches, but I went from negativity to positivity.
I like that. I like that because it can be an inspiration too in regards to like the youth, the younger kids.
Yeah.
I work with a population often with kids that are incarcerated who feel hopeless, that they don't have anywhere to go, and basically they have this blockage, like this mental blockage of what I've been told that I can't do. I'm gonna always have that thought process of what I can't do, and not knowing how to, in a sense, overcome certain issues and problems that are in their inner city areas and neighborhoods. So for you, basically, what you're telling me is telling the audience is that you found your way to overcome these things.
Yes, because I'm in that innocent neighborhood. I'm in that neighborhood where kids are cast out and not thought to be able to develop themselves into, greatness or to a higher position with themselves and better situations. We outgrow a lot of the bad, but you got to be able to want to step forward and step up to grow out of that position. So, basically you control your own mind. So you control whatever exists in front of you, and you control whatever goes on around you. So once you got that control, once you control that, then you able to, supersede from one level to another level, and building the person you want to be.
Yeah, it's like not where you start up, but where you end up, in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And then knowing once you basically, but that will require, I think, too, having some mentors, having some leadership in the community. Sometimes that could actually help to instill some of these values or insights into the younger generations too. What do you think about that?
Yeah, mentors and anybody, saying inspiring to do good is always something to listen to. But what a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear what he say. But you don't have to hear everything he say. You just have to take what you can get from what he's saying. Like if he say do something this way, you just have to manage to make your way work and go that way. See, a lot of people don't want to hear it because they think they have to follow what somebody else says. But no, but it's following how you feel you should go about it, and take out time and patience, and you can always evolve.
Okay. Well, it sounds pretty inspiring too, in regards to what you talk about in for a particular character and what your book is about in regards to comparing it to your own life and how you basically are saying how you overcome obstacles, knowing that you can, reach for higher ground and finding ways to do that. And through mentorship is definitely one way of doing that, so that's an awesome thing, for
Yeah, but the foundation is me about growth that's inside the book, but the words and the path that he's taken and path that he came from is not my path. It's actually individual paths that go on around me. I used their story and created it into one story where it's entertaining.
So it's almost like an inspiration of the community, in a sense. And so you're not stealing, I don't use the word stealing, but you're taking their stories and being inspired by their stories, and then you're putting it all together in your book and building off of that, basically, is what I'm hearing you say.
Exactly. So, it's not basically my story, but it's my family.
Community story.
Community story, yeah.
I like that. I like that. All right, so there you have it with the nightclub lover. A little bit of background about that. And where can I actually purchase the book? Where can I get it?
You can purchase the book on Lulu for the hard copy.com, and you can purchase it written version.
Do you have it on Amazon at all?
Electric version on Amazon, but you can purchase it also from me. You can go on to my my page, Facebook page, author Andre Ruff, and on my Instagram page, Mr. Ruff 42, and you can inquire into me when I have them available. Because they're selling out. Every time I turn around, people want some. It's selling out all over the country. It's selling out outside the country. And that's what keeps me humane about it, that people from Africa, people from the Bermudas, people from the UK.
So all parts of the world, basically, you find that your book is traveling. And that's got to be encouraging and inspiring for you, too, and heartfelt, basically.
It's a beautiful thing to have people know you that you don't know and reach out to you and tell you they love what you have done.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you can find it on Lulu. I've heard Lulu, Amazon, your page, author Andre Ruff, as well as your Instagram page.
That's my Instagram page, Mr. Ruff 42.
Okay, and now can we look forward to there being a part 2 to this book? Are you working on what's next?
Yes, I'm working on a part 2 for it. I can't finish it up right now because I'm doing multiple things, such as what you said.
Oh yeah, because you're the Renaissance. He's the Renaissance man, everybody. So he's a jack of all trades. He has a lot going on, and we're gonna learn a little bit more about that too. But the part is you're being stopped because of the other things that you're actually doing.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm working on it. I'm almost due. I think I got like 3 or 4 more chapters to go, and I'll be done with it. Hopefully soon this year, I can be able to, expose it, and grab the great energy that I'm grabbing from this book and, continue on to be a success.
Okay, and the other thing that you mentioned too, of course, in the beginning of when you said that you did a self-publishing, how would you basically go about, telling our audience in terms of what they can do to self-publish their book? What would they need to do in order to do that?
Well, to self-publish your book, you need to do a little research. Actually, Amazon has a tool for you to create your own books. It's called Creative Space.
Oh, I've heard of that, yes.
Yes. So, you can go in there and you can create your own book from the beginning to the end. And they will give you all details as long as you read. You can follow directions. You can learn and you can do your own publishing and everything. But you have to find yourself a printer. I would prefer you find yourself an editor, because Amazon also has a editing thing that you can edit on here. You can edit.
So were there a lot of your pages edited out of your book?
Oh yeah, it was a few pages edited out of my book, but
how did you feel about that?
I felt a little bit, like hurt, because I wanted to.
We kind of become attached to our writing, because I'm kind of like that. Like, I become attached to my writing. When I create something, especially when I was in college, and I create something, and they tell me to edit it or take this part out, I was feeling some kind of way, because I'm a little bit of attached to that. Yeah. So I can't imagine, like, what it must have been like for them to tell you that you can't include all of the parts to the book that you created for yourself. Yeah, like, how would you say, what percent, like, is that a big percentage that they took out, like a big chunk? Or
they took out about maybe 3%,
That's small.
That's small. Much, but your words, you want to make sure you can read your words once you have them written in there.
Okay.
We put up a little fight, but we got it together, and my editor actually did a good thing for me.
Okay. Now, where do you see like the direction? Because you have this book, and then you're almost pretty much done with the next book that you're going to be having come out. So, what are you hoping to actually have this? Do you want to see movies coming out of these books, or what's the next thing when after creating and writing?
I would love to see I would love to see my book in a movie series, HBO. Anybody who wants to really put this together, who wants to take this, and it's a good thing. It has its drama. It has everything that people want to watch, people want to read. It's a book that you don't want to put down once you start to read it.
Okay.
I have people run into the bathrooms at work telling me You know, they can't let go of the page. They can't let go of the book. I'm telling them, I'm texting them back, let it go before you get fired. I don't want to be responsible.
I
You
can't
losing
imagine
your
that.
job. Yes, yes, yes. So, you know, I want to see it, you know, I want to see it and come to reality.
Okay, your dream. So that's another one of your dreams is to have your
Yeah,
books published and basically realized into the movie set.
yeah. I want to make sure it comes together, and I'm right now I'm trying to position myself where people take notice of who I am and take notice of my book and what's going on inside of it, you know, so that it can develop and touch somebody or grab somebody, because it has all different situations of how you manage things and what you shouldn't get yourself into in the book. So
Okay, I like that. Now, let me get a little disclosure on my part is that as far as books and movies, I mean, I think it's an awesome thing when they can make the book and they turn it into a movie. But I have a thing about like when I read a book, I really can't watch the movie after reading the book because I feel like the movie should depict what the book is. The detail of the book. It should say everything that's in the book, and when it doesn't, I'm kind of annoyed. I don't know about you guys, but I get annoyed about that. Or either I can if I watch the movie, then I'm not going to read the book. You know what I mean? That's just my thing. So I don't know how anyone else feels about that. But what do you think, like in regards to that? Do you have a conflicting thing when it comes to that, like from?
Well, right about this time, no, I don't have any conflicting things about it because my book been out for 2 years and it's been traveling. It's been superseding through cities, states. You know, people are getting a real good read. And by the time someone picks it up and probably want to bring it to existence in a movie or a sitcom or anything, you know, we will have the thrill of it. And then we would look for the thrill of it again in a movie. Yeah, because once you read it, you get a visual setting of how you might think that you're in the book, that you're one of the characters.
Oh, I got the visual setting because I actually did read the book, so I know what you're meaning. So I'm hoping that when it makes it to the big screen, that I'm actually able to watch it. So we'll see. That I could actually watch the actual movie. So that would be awesome to see, you know, and without there being a critique of me thinking that there should be something extra in the video or in the movie. All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. In regards to the Nightclub Lover, this is part 1. There will be a part 2 that's going to be coming out. So we're going to be changing chapters a little bit because I want to basically talk about you on the runway. Because he is a man who takes over the runway. So we want to talk a little bit about that and how you kind of got started with doing your modeling. Tell us a little bit of background about that.
Well, actually, I take a lot of pictures. I like, you know what I'm saying, I like to take a lot of photographs. So actually some couple people in New York had recognized me, and you know what I'm saying, so they liked how I presented myself on my pictures on my page. So then, you know, they contacted me and asked me, do I want to do any modeling? So I said, sure. You know, they gave me the address to show up in New York, and I showed up, and I showed out.
I like that. All right, so show up and show out.
Yeah.
All right, and you never know where it's going to take you.
You never know where it's going to take you because everything I do, I try to do it good.
I hear you with that. So that's the start of the modeling career. That's the start of the modeling career.
That's the start of the modeling career, but from that point on, it had I really liked doing modeling, but also since I live in Paterson, New Jersey, so also since I'm in New York, I'm using it as a tool to create a lot of friendship, network, and you know, and push my book along as I am in New York. And you know, hopefully, you know, the right doors will open up for me, and everything, you know, evolves around my book. You know, everything what I did, everything who I am, it evolves around my book. This is what I do for people to know who I am.
A segue. So modeling is basically a segue in a sense to, network and meet great people, which you can meet a lot of great people and influential people. And so as you meet those people in different industries, you're hoping that somebody can actually, you know, pick up on, a lead for your book and then creating it and making more out of it or whatever the case is. That's basically pretty much what your aim is.
Yeah, you know, I mean, sometimes it's not about who you know.
Yes, I was thinking that. I had thoughts. It's what you know. Yeah, it's not about who you know. Or,
people see you, you know, for your drive, your passion, and they want to invest in you. You know, I mean, I put on a great. No matter what I do, I try to do it perfect. I try to do it great. I try to make people happy, and my surroundings, my energy I carry, is a powerful tool.
Okay. All right. All right. So there we have it when it comes to the modeling. So that's a nice little segue too. So now tell us, Mr. Renaissance Man, about how does the cooking fit into all of this? Because we have you as the author, we have you as the model, basically who wants to network to get to making this book become more than what it is. So then where does cooking fit into all of this? Like, how did you get started with the cooking?
Well, I started out, cooking. It was years ago. I needed to cook for. I needed. I was working at a nursing home as a dietary aide. This is what happened.
Tell us the story.
Yeah, I was working as a dietary aide, and I wanted to be a manager. So I wanted to, and like from my past, people were telling me, hey, if you've been convicted of a crime, you can never be a manager. You can never be in high positions. You can never be that guy.
Isn't it amazing when they tell you basically about your future based on the history of your past and where they're telling you can end up? That's amazing to me when people do that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's only to break your spirit, because I found out actually, you can be anybody you really want to be. If you put yourself in a position to be that person, that's who you will become. And you got to put yourself, you have to manage to alternate your friends. You got to, maybe you need to
make those changes.
Yeah, you got to make changes with your friends. You got to make changes with your behavior. You got to make changes with your thoughts. A lot of things have to change within you. It took time. It didn't take a day. I worked on myself for like maybe 10 years before I got to the point where I said, I'm a man.
Well, okay, but we know it doesn't have to take 10 years. But this is your journey, your personal journey. But as long as you're on the road to doing it,
every
yes,
day,
and making that change, yeah.
You're going to eventually evolve into the person you want to be. So
But you got to get started somewhere.
Yeah, you got to get started somewhere, because, hey, you want to start tomorrow, you start too old, you want to start, it's not going to, it's going to work for you, but it's going to be too late for you to figure out exactly what kind of gift you have inside of you.
And you bring me to the thought of there truly really is a battle for the mind, a battle for the soul.
Yeah.
And turning that around. Like I often say, a lot when I speak with the inner city, the youth, and those that are frequent to incarceration. Is that it's about changing your thought. It's about changing the way you think. It's all of the things you mentioned, changing your peers, your social settings, and that becomes extremely difficult. And it's very difficult to do it. Like it's not easy to do that. But once you make up in your mind about whether or not you really want to make that change, then you start taking steps to doing that.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not easy initially. And like you said, it took you 10 years,
It took me 10 years to really, find myself mentally, and to position myself to who I am today. Like I said, I was a dietary aide. I wanted to be a manager. I found myself, going to another facility working as a dietary aide. I knew the kitchen very well. I expressed that to the director of that department, and then he said to me, I make you a manager.
Wow.
Actually, he ended up getting fired from his job.
Did you take his job?
No, I wish I did, but hey, there's an uprise with that one. But he actually getting fired from his job, so they hired someone new. So they told me that they couldn't give me a management position, which everybody knew that I was entitled to. So what he offered me was to be a cook.
Okay.
So, and he gave me 2 chefs to train me how to cook. So
This starts the journey for your cooking.
So this
your
started
cooking.
the journey for my cooking. So then after that point, I started really getting into cooking, learning different seasonings, learning, timing and how to cook food and what types of meat to cook and what types of sauce and how to make them. And then I fell in love with it. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's pretty awesome. What's the best meal that you like to prepare?
Well, my favorite is shrimp scampi. You know, but I can always burn a good steak. Love it. But
So steak and seafood.
yeah, steak and seafood. I mean, hey, I can do wonders with a fish.
I know too that you've done some community work in regards to cooking.
Yeah.
You want to tell the audience a little about your community work that you've
I
done?
also do community work. I invest some of my time, my idle time, into doing things for the community, going to shelters, cooking for them, showing kids, showing adults how to cook.
Proper nutrition too, and the proper nutrition, because you'd be surprised at those that do not know proper nutrition,
Yeah.
basic stuff. Like in my experience, it's been where you not only do you have to get them to eat, because some of them may eat one meal a day, if that, or a snack or something, one meal a day. And so now you have to get them to eating at least 3 meals a day, or maybe 5 small meals a day. And so then once you get them to that, you say, okay, now let's curtail this a little bit, and we can get you now to eating healthier. Right? So once you get those 3 meals a day or 5 small meals in there, we can now curtail it to being healthier, because once they get the 3 meals a day, that may include like something like McDonald's, or the cold cuts, or some sort of a high fructose cereal, so but nonetheless they're getting it in there, so, and that's helpful to get it in there, because what I explained too, of course, especially in the inner city African American communities where diabetes and high blood pressure, it's very, very, it's common, and to in inner cities a lot too.
And there was one of the things that I at my charity thing was a place asked me to come in to show women who were on the go how can they cook fast food from their refrigerator for their kids and still be able to,
like a healthy meal in 20 minutes type
20
thing.
minutes, yeah. So I did things like that. I showed them how to do it, and I also I have videotapes of it. I cook actually online and do some online cooking for people, who just want to know a different dish, something different to eat. Actually, we can go out and buy these things, but we don't know, a lot of us don't know exactly what can we do with the food that we have.
Well, yeah, and then the other misconception too is that they believe that the vegetables are a lot more money. So therefore they would opt maybe to not have the vegetables, because they're thinking it is expensive to have it, when you can actually, there are food markets that actually have it where it's low cost vegetables. It may not be as fresh as if you were to go to maybe a Whole Foods or something, but nonetheless it's available, in the inner cities too, where they can still have access. Or if you find, if you have to have some sort of vegetable, then maybe the frozen vegetable. It doesn't have to be fresh, but you're starting with frozen, or you may be starting with canned, and rinse off the salt that may be in the can. There's ways of substituting that just to be able to start it and get them on the right track of getting it into their body, first of all.
What you have in the refrigerator or something like that, you can usually put something together, but your mind has to think exactly and have to know what exactly you're making and what you want to make, in order for it to look good, taste good. Well,
I get concerned about that, because I don't, the tasting part, we want it to taste good. And I think that kind of is what, in a sense, drives us to eating things that we shouldn't probably eat, because we want it to taste good. So that being said, I eat things that don't often taste good, but it's good for me.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different bracket. But nonetheless, but we get fixed on that, and I think that's why the salt content comes in there, and it's high salt content and seasonings and stuff, and then the blood pressure gets up, and then the diabetes start kicking in.
That's why you need to get into fresh herbs. Learn fresh herbs and give it seasonings, give it taste. You don't have to use salt, and you don't have to use much salt. This is to alleviate all that. Fresh herbs. You have to get into how you season your meat, how you season your food, how a lot of that. But this is what I was taught from these chefs, the 2 chefs, and actually going through all that and my trials and tribulations of my war with trying to be a chef. Actually, I grew into cooking very well. So at the end of the day, my experience from that point on led me to be a manager
Ultimately,
So-
ultimately, you
so
became the manager of what they said you couldn't become because of your history and your background.
Yeah.
So you kind of, in a sense, overcame that anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I like hearing
I
that.
actually became a manager at a hospital, of the dietary department. I actually made it really, and it touches me every moment that I get to the point where I dream and say I can do it, and that's what I want, and I make it there. Your mindset has had to be like, I'm going to make it there. That's who I'm going to be. You have to keep telling yourself, and then it brings it to fruition what it is.
Yes, yes, the positive affirmations, the things, because what you tell yourself, how you feed your mind, it definitely can make or break you, right? And that's kind of what we're talking about, can make or break you. All right, so there we have it. Like this, wow. So this is your journey. This is awesome journey. Like to having it from where you started to where you are today. It's pretty cool.
And a lot of it, me learning to cook is also I'm in the gym, so I train sometimes. I train people sometimes. I'm in there training. I try to keep my body right, my mind right, and try to keep positivity afloat and negativity away. I do a lot of meditation for my mental exercise, and one thing we all fail to do is that we fail to read.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
pick up my book and read. And no matter what it says, reading is strength for the mind.
Yes, it is. I agree with you. I so appreciate you being here. This has been an awesome experience, an awesome segment, because I so enjoy being able to inform our audience of all the wonderful people that are out there and the great things that they're doing. And especially when we start tapping into nutrition and dieting and best ways to eat and how to overcome obstacles in a sense of what we've heard in regards to Andre Ruff experience. It's not about where you start up, it's where you end up. And believing in yourself with positive affirmation and all those great things. So we're thankful for you being here and sharing your experience with us. And so you pretty much told the audience of how they could actually get in contact with you, and that's through Facebook.
Through Facebook, also Andre Ruff. Through Instagram, Mr. Ruff 42. And I also run my own catering company, Rough Life Entertainment. So soon there will be food. We'll be putting out food along the city. Hopefully I get there. God give me strength. I'll be able to cook for you.
Amen. It'll happen. Yes. So thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you again. My name is Tanya Hand, your host of Let's Chat. Thank you again for watching.